And good morning, fuckers! Welcome to another day at the one and only Daily BM. I have Mikey with me again. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily BM.
You know, I don't understand. Whoa, go ahead.
We have a third round with Anitra because it's just such an interesting conversation.
Woo-hoo.
But go ahead, Brad, what were you going to say before you cut me off?
I was
so
going to
rudely?
say, I was going to follow up real quick on the intro with you. I was like, I don't understand why I always have to say I got Mikey with me. I'm going to have to change that because who else is going to be with me? Me? You know what I mean? By myself? Maybe one day. I don't know.
I do put the M in the Daily BM.
Oh,
That's
my
true.
goodness.
So it's like everybody knows it. So, you know, if Anitra was part of the show, we'd be called BAM. Boom!
Man.
Bam!
I love it. I think we're on to something here.
The bam. Or it could just be Brad and Mike. Just saying. Cut you out of the middle altogether. No, just joking. Only kidding. But so welcome back, man, for another episode, man. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, thank you. I love it.
Are you
guys
plugged
great.
in now?
I am plugged in. Unbelievable.
Plugged in, you're powering up.
I warned you.
It happens. You know, hey, it's all good. It's all good. So Mikey had a couple of questions he wanted to lead off with about CrossFit.
So the last episode we were just starting to get into your CrossFit life. And as a CrossFit gym owner, so what I noticed is when CrossFit, this is how I felt. When CrossFit first came out, it was for like elite athletes that were really wanting to push themselves to the next level. Mm-hmm. That was just my opinion and the vision of it, because you had people that were very well trained, you know, had great form, and they were just pushing themselves even harder, you know, to be better. And then all of a sudden it started to become mainstream. And, you know, I went to a couple CrossFit gyms, and I saw people in there throwing weights around with some of the worst form that I've ever seen in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And several of the people that I know that were CrossFit newbies, and they weren't really like gym rats or, you know, in good physical fitness. They just were like, I want to be a CrossFitter because it's cool. It's like the hip new term. Got pretty bad injuries, you know, like spinal injuries and shoulder injuries, because they just didn't, I don't know, maybe they didn't respect the sport. And I didn't know, what's your feeling on that? Like where do you think CrossFit's for everyone? Or do you think that's like a rite of passage? Like once you get past a certain point of physical fitness, and then you become a CrossFitter.
It's interesting because you said you just finished when one of your last statements, you said the sport.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm what they call a CrossFit OG, right? So I think CrossFit started in 2007. I started doing CrossFit, I think, in 2008 or 2009. And there's a difference, in my opinion. And I think it has a lot to do with CrossFit's marketing, right? Yes. The old HQ's marketing back in the day, they pushed the sport of CrossFit and not the daily going to the gym just to get to work out, right? So you've got your regular gym goers, right? So, and I think it's a mixed bag. So this is how CrossFit works. It is not a franchise. It is an affiliation. Okay. So every gym can program however they want for their facility. So I was an Olympic weightlifting coach before I was a CrossFit coach, and that's pretty rare. Most people found Olympic weightlifting through CrossFit. I found Olympic weightlifting first. And so my gym was known for having impeccable form. When we would go to the local fitness competitions, it was for those that had that need, right? Who wanted to compete. We never pushed it, but it's fun, right? And and
it's
our
a lot of fun. Yeah,
our athletes stood out, like you could tell, like form wise. So it's a mixed bag. So you've got the barrier to entry to get a CrossFit Level 1 certification and to own a gym back in the day was a $500 weekend course, and that's it. Right. Yep. So you did have a lot of shit show gyms out there, but they were passionate about it because what CrossFit provides that you do not get at your normal gyms is the community and accountability and a sense of belonging that as adults we I think we lose some of that as we get older. So CrossFit is a great way to get that.
Yeah.
So
100%. No, I agree with the community of it. I mean, but I just like I went to a weekend, a Saturday, like free class. Cause I had been working out for a little bit on my own. This is back when I was, doing pretty well. Like I was, 200 pounds, and Brad and I he was running 5Ks. I was getting into it, and I was going to the gym 6 days a week, working out, and I was feeling really strong. So I wanted to start. One of my coworkers, she did CrossFit, and she said, "Hey, just come on Saturdays. We have free classes, just to see what it's like." And I really liked the camaraderie and the feeling of like the team and that type of stuff. But, my second trip out, it was like, okay, today we're running a Murph, and it's like, oh shit, I'm not ready for this. But then I didn't want to be like, not a team player or not,
well, Murph
do
is
it.
not
So I try to do my best.
So what they should have done, a good experienced coach would have scaled that down for you, and he would have said, okay, you're going to do a quarter or half of the reps, or pair you up with somebody and you split the reps even in half. And then you don't do it just like it's run 1 mile with a weighted vest, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 body weight squats, and run another mile, come back, all with the weighted vest on. That's how it is programmed, right? So I would cut your run down, and then you would have a team partner, and we'd scale everything for you. If, you were to come into my gym and you had never done CrossFit, because it's all body weight movement. So it's low risk to injury, but you have a high risk of getting rhabdo, which is really bad stuff. So,
what is rhabdo for someone that doesn't know?
Rhabdomyolysis, it's when the proteins and creatine or potassium levels get in your bloodstream from your muscle breakdown.
Okay.
If I'm going from memory here, so I could be wrong a little bit, but it has to do with stuff getting out of your muscles into the bloodstream. And a lot of times it's my experience. I've had 2 athletes get rhabdo, and they were experienced athletes. A lot of time it comes from working out. 2 of them, they had drank the night before and then came in and hit a hard workout, and they were underhydrated.
I gotcha.
It's usually my experience. I'm not a doctor, but my experience is usually underhydration plays a role in someone getting that. But anyway, that is, so you just got to be smart about the people you're coaching. But again, people, I don't know.
I feel like what happened is a class, I mean, obviously I couldn't do most of that because I wasn't nearly at that fitness level. So I kind of was like, by the time I got off the 1 mile, everybody was already heading out for their second mile. So I didn't really have to, because it's like it was like an honor system, it's not like anybody standing there making you do anything.
Right.
So I didn't get nearly the reps in, and I didn't even get the second half the mile in, because by the time I was done doing the stuff in the gym, everybody was coming back, and I didn't use a weighted vest at the time or any of that. But, I just noticed that there was a lot of people there were like really good athletes. Yeah. And this was like their community and like pushing themselves to get to the next level, almost like ultra marathon runners or Ironman, like in triathletes and things like that. Like you can't, I feel like, and it may have gotten better since I've been there, but I felt like CrossFit was like the next level up, like when you're ready to become more advanced.
I don't agree with that.
But now, but that's why I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what's your?
So a lot of people think that, but that's something they project onto themselves. And again, I think that has a lot to do with CrossFit HQ's marketing, because again, there's a difference between CrossFit the sport and CrossFit the exercise regimen.
Okay.
Like you can use one to get to the other, but I can tell you.
So what's the difference? Like, so that way for some people like myself that aren't 100% aware of like the difference, because I've been always seeing like the CrossFit Games and people, stuff like that.
So I'm friends with Games athletes, and my ex-husband was he did not make it to the Games, but he went on to do the Pro Grid League. And they do not do one workout a day. They do 3 workouts a day, and their programming isn't like the exercise CrossFit, right? I mean, it's very similar, but you're not going to get to the game levels if you just go do your CrossFit. I might get hate mail for this, but they do regimented things like, you got to do your interval training, and they put in 2 or 3 hours a day. You would be hard pressed to find a top level games athlete that's just going into their CrossFit gym 4 times a week and doing what's programmed on the board.
Right.
But there are some gyms. So again, CrossFit is an affiliation. It is not a franchise. So each owner, head coach is free to program however they see fit. So a perfect example, back in the day in Lakeland, we were Olympic weightlifting coaches. So we had a barbell club that was established and our gym was powerful, right? And then, but we did all the other stuff. We did gymnastics and all that. There was another gym in town that the head coach, she ran marathons. So their programming had a lot of running on a regular basis. Then there was another gym in town that they were big into, they loved to compete powerlifting. So they were like raw strength. So gyms will take on kind of the personalities and the interest and the culture
of their owners,
of the owner or the head coach, whoever's running the day-to-day
program. Okay.
Right. So, so I would always encourage people to, when they would come to my gym, I'm like, go to them all before you decide, find your fit. Cause my gym might not be for you. And that's okay. You know, so they're very culturally different.
So how did you get into cross training? Cause you started the Olympic weightlifting, or weightlifting and then went to Olympic weightlifting. And then how did you get into CrossFit? Like what made you go that direction?
The movie 300.
Okay.
So, everyone, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Cause this is when I was just at a regular gym over in Brandon and just doing normal machines, barbell, just your traditional gym stuff. And, working out with the guys every day. I used to have a 135-pound bench press back when I weighed 117 pounds for reps. I was so proud of that. And that movie 300 came out and it was all over the place. Like, how did you get fit? And they did their kind of like their exercise regimen. And this is right around the time that CrossFit was coming out, I believe, and was established. And it's kind of the same thing. It's high intensity interval movements where you're mixing it up and you're doing a bunch of different stuff and with a little higher intensity. And so I really enjoyed that style of training. And then CrossFit came up, and with the Olympic lifting being involved, it just kind of all melds together. And it was like, oh, this is great. And I signed up to a CrossFit gym, and then I went on to own my own. So.
Wow. Okay. Fascinating. Yeah. So the movie 300 inspired you to get into CrossFit.
Well, I don't know that the movie inspired me, but when I saw that workout that they said that they went through, I saw that workout and I was like, so I go to the Globo gym. So imagine me, I'm in this Globo gym and I'm getting all the pieces. I'll have to find out what that workout was, but I think there's like 10 different movements and you have to go through it and like, pull-ups, push-ups and jump rope and you just do all these things. And so takes me like 30 minutes to find all the equipment in the gym and set up my circuit and hope nobody takes my stuff, right? Because I'm one of them intense people. I yell at you to take my shit when I'm working out. It's like, hey, it's mine. And
you're one of those people that uses all the pieces of equipment at one time.
Well, not all the time, but listen.
No one else could use these.
She's the one we can't stand in the gym.
Right, and you know how many fucks I give? Zero.
Yeah,
Zero
fucks given. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Honestly, I don't like take up 2-3 pieces of equipment, but I do like have it in my sight. Like if it frees up, and if not, then I just kind of learn to move to a different exercise that's in my routine, because I don't want to be that dick that holds up, the equipment.
I have a home gym because I don't like sharing.
Yeah, Mike doesn't like working out with anybody either, really.
That was a circuit, right? So I need a dumbbell. I need a jump rope. I'm not taking up the whole thing. I'm like just getting the little pieces I need to do my little circuit right here. It's like the story is better,
Anita, if you're taking everything up, like you're just owning the gym and you're just pushing the little old ladies out of the way and the little the 16-year-old boys that are trying to
it's
put
the
on
big
a little
old
bit of muscles.
Dudes. I'll be like, can you excuse me? So it's so funny because I'll be standing. I must have this really like bitch face look when I'm in the gym because I will be in just any remote closeness to a piece of equipment. A guy will come up and look at me. He's like, are you using that machine? It's like 4 machines over. I'm like, no, go ahead. You're fine. It's so funny.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I just had something similar happen to me in the gym the other day. I don't have a problem with somebody going, "Hey man, you mind if I join in?" You know, if they're doing the same exercise, you know, because I'm resting in between sets anyway. You know, for 60 seconds is the way I'm looking. You know, it's my time. So, you know, I walked up to an old man, and he was an older dude. I say old man, but he was probably in his mid 60s. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I cut in with you?" He goes, "I got 2 more sets." And I was like, "All right, man, fuck, shit. All right." You know, and he sat there for 2.5 minutes, man. I'm like, all the other piece of equipment going, man, what a dick. I could have been like, already had my set done. And you know what I mean? I guess there's proper gym etiquette. I don't know if maybe that's a dick move by me, but I don't think so. I mean, like if somebody is asked to cut in, I'm like, hey, you how much longer you got to go? If you want to cut in, you can cut in. I always offer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's like, hey, you can work in. It never works for me because, especially at the squat rack, because I have to have the J cup so low, it never works. It's like, you're just gonna have to wait, but I'll be quick.
Yeah, I'm the same way because I'm short. So I mean, I understand if I'm like on a squat machine, you know, a squat rack or whatever, but because like you said, you know, I have to use the assisted. I don't have anybody spotter there, so I have to use the assisted squats. So you know, so I'm down like 3-4 notches lower than, you know, the average 6'2", you know, 6'2" guy. Mm-hmm. You know, 5'6", you know, 5'6" on a good day. You know, so, or as Mike says, I'm 5 foot.
My biggest peeve is when I was going to the big gym down here on South Florida Avenue. They've got like 3 squat racks. Mm-hmm. I come in there, it's like I squat heavy every day. I need the rack, right? And I go in, all the racks are being used and not a fucking squat's being done. In fact, all the movements that are being done he's using it as a pull-up bar. This guy is doing bent over rows with the barbell at the rack. I'm like, and the other guy's doing presses. I'm like, could you please get the hell out of here so I can squat?
Yeah, just do that somewhere else. Yeah, do that on another piece. Do somewhere else.
There's so many other things you can use for a barbell row, you know, or anything like that. You know, dumbbells, whatever.
That's the biggest reason that I got the equipment in my house. Unfortunately, I haven't used it to the level that I've wanted to. I'm working my way into it now, but it was for that very reason. It's because time's precious. Like you only have so much time during the day and you can't create more of it. And I hated going to the gym and waiting on people to, you know, get done taking their selfies in front of the barbell rack, showing that they're doing what they're doing in front of the squat rack, you know, doing, you know, like they do one press and then they have to take 16 photos. Yeah, I do that too, but I don't know. It also affected my mindset a little bit because I get aggravated and frustrated, and I just didn't need it. So I was like, I'm just going to build this in my house. Plus, it's less excuse. I can't. It's going to be harder for me to make excuses other than being physically injured.
Here's the thing about your home stuff, though. What I found happened, because I had a whole gym set up, and I would still go to the gym instead, is that there's always so much stuff to do around your own house that I would get distracted and overwhelmed because I was like, okay, I'm home. It's like, okay, I'm going to work out. But I'm always distracted by all the other things that need to be done. And I get overwhelmed. And then I found that I cut my workout short. So it was best for me just to get in there and be cut off from my home.
Oh, see, I learned to deal with that because I work from home. So I have to like have that mindset that, okay, this time it's work, this time it's home. This time it's this. Mm-hmm. So that's helped me a lot. And then having spaces, like it's a lot more challenging when it's, you know, you're doing it in your living room where other people are at, like if you're just bringing out weights and stuff like that. But if you have a room dedicated towards it, it's so much better because that's what it's there for. My biggest problem right now is keeping people from putting junk in my workout area. Like they'll just randomly place, you know, boxes and shit, and they'll have to move all that stuff. So I need to actually build a room inside my garage. So I got a 1,800 square foot garage. I want to build out a room that's going to be a workout room. And if anybody disrespects the workout room, there's going to be a lock on it. And if they disrespect it, they get locked out. They can't use it.
Well, and I get that.
That's I already told my stepson that, you know.
I've been
like, you don't put the weights up and you don't put the pads down or pads back, then you won't have access.
So I've lived alone for 8 years, and the dog is new to me. My dog is new to me. I've only had it for like 2 years, and the gym was a way for me to socialize too. Even though I didn't really necessarily hang around and talk the gym for hours and hours like you might think, but just being around people this is the one common thing that we have, and I actually kind of feed off the energy of people working out around me, even if I don't interact with them. So that was a big part of my mental health, having a gym membership. for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought I was going to be all, motivated at home. But what I found is I trained people, I would train people in my house and then go to the gym to work out for myself.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I do like the gym for the community and that kind of stuff. That's why I want to do like a running club or something like that once I get a little better at it. I think Brad would be interested in that as well. Because I know he enjoyed running.
I enjoy running though, but it was like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like anything. If you do too much of it, like I can get kind of like on it. That's why I like now I'm taking a different approach. Like I like, doing running, but I'm like incorporating it in with more of the weight. I'm focusing more on the weight training.
I meant like a running club, like going to do like a 5K like once every couple weeks and stuff like that.
The watermelon run target.
Yeah.
Right, which I've done. I mean, I did that. I mean, I ran 3 5K or 3 or 4. I can't remember off the top of my head. I got the medals somewhere, but I did run those. And my last one, I was really happy with before I quit and got fatter again. But I did a 5K around Lake Hollingsworth, and I ran my best time for me, which was 27 minutes. So I was pretty happy with that.
The first run I ever did was a warrior dash. That's how I came into the 300 workout. I was training for a warrior dash. And I was like, I'm going to be badass at this warrior dash. And I came in top 10 of my age group for the first time I ever tried it. Wow. I trained my ass off for that. I was so fit.
Yeah, we're training for Spartan race right now at the end of the year. A little Spartan sprint. So
nice.
I taught Brad into doing that. I kind of twisted his arm a little.
They're so fun, but be careful. Every time I did any kind of mud race, I always got hurt. Wow. Every time.
I'm going in with the mentality of I'm going to do it. I'm going to push myself, but not to the point where I hurt myself.
That's always something dumb.
Before we get out of here, I was talking to Mike, and I was like saying, I've realized like there's going to be certain things that he excels at. Because we do walk, and try to run together. At least we try to run together at least once a week. Well, we haven't run yet, but we're fixing to start adding in jogging,
trail walking,
speed walking and trailing. Yeah. And it got me thinking. I was talking to a guy this morning who he trains, and he was telling me, hey, why don't you start exercising with just a small backpack and put some weights on it? Because I told him what we were doing with the Spartan. He's like, just go ahead and start getting used to going in elevations. I was like, it's not too much of a bad idea. I can put this backpack on and freaking go out there and push myself a little bit more. But I've realized like there's going to be certain things that he excels at that he's better than me, and vice versa. But to push each other, but not push each other to the point where we hurt one another either. So I think that's super important to have somebody that is more in the mentality of, you don't have to do that if you can't do it, and it's okay.
Yeah. I have to be extra cautious because I've had a lot of injuries, and that's usually what derails me. That's what caused my last round of depression and massive weight gain. Was I was doing really well and then blew out my knee because we did a running. We did an inter-office challenge competition, and I pushed myself too hard, and I slipped and wiped out and took my knee out again, like just twisted it. And I was down and out for 6 to 8 months. Had to get, they're telling me I need full knee replacement surgery, but I'm like not doing it right now at 45 because I don't want to have to do it again at 65. Yeah. And I feel like I can take, joint support supplements and
fish oil helps too.
Fish oil. And then, just good multivitamins,
anti-inflammatory diet.
Working on my anti-inflammatory, getting the weight off slowly, correctly, just learning proper forms, not, building up all the supporting small muscles, because I realized I was working the big muscles really well, but I wasn't doing the stuff to get all the supporting muscles strengthened.
Stabilization and accessory
all the stabilization.
Stuff. Yep. It's not glamorous, but it's so important.
Yeah. Because I think that's what that's where I think people going back to the CrossFit real quick. I think that's where some of the people get hurt because they haven't worked on the stabilization, for all the smaller muscles, and they've been working so hard on their big muscles because they've done the controlled exercises in the gym. They've worked on the rack that's got the track that keeps you in the right angle and the right form. And then when they get in the CrossFit and they start doing the multi-compounded movements, they lose their form quickly because those stabilizers give out and that's when they get hurt. I mean, that's just what I've seen people do.
Well,
like
and I think
witnessed it.
also part of it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You just have so many different levels of skill or lack of experience in coaches. A lot of them, I've been going to some gyms, and what I'm experiencing is they're just different from how I did it. We did a very intense and entailed warm up and mobility. Like it was all built into the hour. You're going to warm up, you're going to mobilize, we're going to hit a strength piece, and we're going to hit a Metcon. Some days there wouldn't be strength, and we just hit the Metcon, and then other days it would be Metcon or strength only, a max day, no Metcon. But a lot of times I think what comes with injuries, people are not properly warming up and mobilizing before they're getting into these compound movements.
Yeah.
That's a thing too.
I think it's a really strong message to kind of start winding the show down with. I just did quick 30 seconds, maybe give like what your rundown is as a professional coach, on what people should do when they are looking for, growing themselves physically. Like, can you give some advice on that as far as like what the warm up, diet, exercise? I mean, you don't have to go into details, just like highlight reel.
Well, the rule of thumb, they say you cannot out exercise a bad diet. So firstly, I would say if it's the way that you look and the way that you feel, clean up your diet, work on cleaning up your diet, and pick something you enjoy, because it shouldn't feel like punishment if you're going to be active. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be glamorous. If you're sitting on your couch and not doing anything, just move. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a CrossFit athlete. You don't have to be a marathon runner. Just start moving. Get some momentum.
That's a really strong message. Just start moving. So, because I do feel like a lot of people, what they do is they see, I get so many people that are like, I'm going to do 75 hard, or I'm going to do V shred, or I'm going to do insanity. And they're going from couch to insanity, which is insanity just in and of itself. I know that's the marketing and how the marketing's sold, but the problem is you get burned out. You injure yourself, and then you feel like a loser because you can't get through even the first workout. And it's because it's not for that level, like just start walking is what I tell people. If you're not doing anything and you have no exercise and you're way overweight and you have a bad diet, it's like cut your portions in half and just start walking, and then just start swapping out crappy food choices for whole food, healthier food choices, and eat things that you like, to start with. So that way you make it easier on yourself, not this. Yeah. Because you're not going to stick with it. You're going to do it for 30 days and willpower's going to give out and you're going to be back to your bad habits.
Well, I think the big thing is, especially with diet, because there's an addiction problem in this country, and it's chemically induced. And
by the manufacturers.
Yes.
Intentionally.
So, the big thing is talk to somebody, get on a fitness chat, somebody that knows about nutrition, not what doctors tell you, because they're not allowed to tell you.
Right.
Right. And
correct.
And work on your food, but more importantly, get accountability. I am leery to give nutrition advice to anybody, broad strokes, because it's so individualized. I am not indoctrinated into any one way of eating or any one way of exercising. Everything is dependent on the individual, and they have to find what works for them. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Well said. Back to what Mike was saying, I have been following this V shred thing, but I realized early on, right? Very early on during this routine, that I could not complete the full amount of tasks that it calls for, because for instance, the one I'm using right now, it calls for 4 power sets of 12, 10, 8, 4, blah, blah, blah. I can follow it, but I can only do 1 set of that. You know what I mean? When I started, now I'm up to 2. So I'm like, I wasn't looking at, okay, I have to complete all 4 of these, and go in there and hurt myself. I'm 53 years old. I'm not, who's out of shape. But I was like, I need to get into an exercise regimen. It was already there. I purchased it a while back, and I was like, man, I'm going to give it a shot. You know what I mean? So my thing was it was like, I have to go start small, but pay attention to the results. Like I said, I've dropped 2% body fat. I know I'm dropping more because I can feel it on me. I mean, Mike sees me every day, so it's a little bit harder for him, just like my wife. I see.
No, I noticed it. I noticed the last time we were together that you looked a lot thinner, especially in your face. And it's interesting. You made a comment the other day, watching the past podcast, you can see both of our faces just starting to slowly slim.
Yeah.
I think we should even do a time lapse. I think it'd be kind of fun. When we get from start to finish, we'll be out here like this, and it'll be like,
it's almost like we did the squeezing, you know what I mean? Just kind of pushed it in of it and spread it out. But, so I've just found that it's like you said, Anitra, it's just taking action. You can't outrun a bad diet. As you start to consume something, you should think, and Mike actually got me thinking about this a while back. And you just need to think about what you're putting in your body is exactly what you're going to get out of it. Number 2. And then the third thing was that cut your portion sizes. It's not that hard. You should, in some ways, you need to eat more.
I do not. Yeah, I do not. I do not agree with saying it because I don't know how people are eating, and a lot of people are under eating, and that's why they're heavy.
Well, what the preface on that was if whenever you're going out to eat, all the meals right there are 1,200, 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Cut them in a third. If you're going to get if you're going out to a fancy dinner, don't tell your family I can't go because I'm on a diet. Because now you're ruining your connection and you're getting resentment because you're not part of the family. It's if you're going to go, look at what the calories are and make it fit into your macros. If you have a 500 calorie meal, pick something that's 500 calories, and then you don't have to finish the plate. Just eat half or eat a quarter. If it's 1,000 calorie meal for this chicken, broccoli, and whatever, because the portion size massive, eat half, and then take half home as another meal, and then that's just a start because.
Yeah, I should have probably elaborated a little bit more because that's exactly what I'm doing. What I'm saying is that when I said cut your portions enough, I probably should have been a little bit clarified it a little bit. Yeah. I was eting 4,500 calories easy a day. Easy, maybe even 5, right?
Oh, yeah.
With zero exercise. Exercise is what I'm getting at. Protein intake was very minimal. I was eating a lot more carbs, way more carbs.
Carbs is the high end of it. Yeah.
Right.
Not a lot of protein, not a lot of fat, mostly carbs. Correct. Mostly processed carbs.
Exactly. So I mean that's what I meant by that. I didn't clarify
it.
Amazing.
So, they're hard not to eat.
Yeah, so I can understand where you're coming from. Hey, I can't agree with that because you're absolutely right. But I'm saying for me, that's what I had to do. Just because I was way out of control. Cut my alcohol consumption. I think the last time I've had a drop of alcohol has probably been 2 weeks now. So, you know what I mean? Do I like to have a beer? Of course.
Whole episode for what it does.
Yeah, we can talk about that on another one. But
I'm telling you, I had I can't even if I have 1 or 2 drinks, a glass of wine. What it does to me hormonally, not hangovers. 3 days later, my anxiety and depression shoot through the roof. Alcohol.
Let's say that for another episode.
Let's say that for another time.
We can definitely do a full 20-minute episode just on how alcohol affects the body and also relationships and everything else. So I think we'd love to have you back on. I know we're getting kind of close to that.
I'm a former drunk anorexic. We can talk all about it.
Okay, awesome.
That sounds like a plan. Well, listen, Anitra, thanks again for coming on the show. Appreciate you. The information you're providing is fantastic for our listeners. So, we'll have you back on again here at a later date. Mikey, you got anything before we go?
Hey, everybody, have a great day. Remember, it all starts with your mind and your body. Focus on yourself first, because if you don't focus on yourself, you can't help other people around you or be the best version of yourself. So just go out there, live life, have fun. Remember, you don't have unlimited time, so make the most of it every second you got. Brad, what do you got for us?
You said it all, man. I'm not even gonna follow you. How do you follow that? You're right on point. So with that, guys, don't forget, head over to thedailybm.com. Go ahead and find us on our socials there. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down at the bottom, whatever platform you're on, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, whatever it is. And then also, do not forget to head over to our YouTube channel, because we're getting ready to start posting a lot more videos there. So you get to see our mugs and get to see from fatness to thinness. So there you go.
Yep.
And with that,
and back again. Wait, what? No.
With that, we're gonna go ahead and step on out of here. Yeah, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Have a good one.
Deuces.